Yo, what's good, Jets Nation? This is New York Jets Media, bringing you guys my first ever YouTube video talking about the New York Jets. I am super excited to finally launch this YouTube series right before the football season begins. And for those of you guys that do not know, I run an Instagram and a Twitter fan page on the New York Jets. That's at NYJets_media. So go check me out on both of those. So in this video, I'll be breaking down a timeline of the past 2 years of all the Jets moves that they made that set themselves up to where they are today, and why I personally believe the Jets are built to win now and in the future. And also, stay tuned to the end of the video to find out how you can enter to win a Jamal Adams jersey. As you could tell, I have two of the same stealth black Jamal Adams jerseys, and I'll be giving away one of them for free. So stay tuned to the end of the video to find out how you can win. So the first thing on my timeline that the New York Jets did 2 years ago was a huge deal for the Jets, and that is drafting safety Jamal Adams with the 6th overall pick in 2017. As we all know, Jamal Adams is one of the best safeties in the league already, and he's a culture changer. Day one, when he entered the league, he was a rookie leader. That is extremely rare for someone to come into the league as a first-year player and be a leader in the locker room from day one. That is not coachable. That is something you have instinctually, and Jamal Adams brings a different type of energy to the Jets.
I challenge everybody to have their best game today. Do the little things at all times, bro. We're going to come out victorious. Just see that!
You see it, his passion for the game is unmatched. And also, Jamal Adams is a fan favorite for the Jets, but he's also one of those players that's a fan favorite for NFL fans as a whole. He's just a good player for the NFL. He brings so much energy and passion on and off the field.
Gotta keep the same energy, bro. Hey, you're still in the ball game, man.
And he's a complete culture changer. Ever since he joined the Jets, that defense has been totally different. Every time I'm watching a Jets game, my eyes are locked on number 33.
Hey! You better block me! You better block me!
Because he's all over the field. He's so versatile. He can line up in the box. He can line up as safety anywhere. And now that we have Greg Williams is going to use him and unleash him even more than we've ever seen before. So that's the first thing on my timeline, is when we drafted Jamal Adams, because like I said, Jamal Adams really is a huge part of this Jets football team. When we drafted him, I remember not everybody, but some people wanted Deshaun Watson because he was on the board at 6. But I wasn't a huge fan of Deshaun Watson. I saw Jamal Adams, and I just knew from watching his tape at LSU that he can come into this Jets football team and really make a difference from day one, as he did last year in his second football season. He already made the Pro Bowl, and he guaranteed he will never miss a Pro Bowl again. So Jamal Adams really is a huge reason why this Jets defense is on the rise, and he's so young still. He's going into his third season, and he's only scratching the surface, which is the crazy part. I feel like he has so much room to grow to become something bigger than he already is, which is crazy because he already is one of the best safeties in the league. So this is only the beginning for Jamal Adams. So the next thing on my timeline, fast forward one more year to the next year's draft, and that is drafting quarterback Sam Darnold with the 3rd overall pick. I think this is the most important part of this timeline, obviously, because the quarterback is the most important position in all of sports. I personally believe Sam Darnold has what it takes physically and mentally to become a top 5 quarterback in this league in the future. Maybe not necessarily a top 5 this year, because he's so young. I'm telling you, he will get better and better every year, and I will be breaking down why I think he has what it takes to become great. The first thing I saw from Sam Darnold during his rookie year that really made me understand that he has the mental ability to become great is week 1. We all know what happened week 1. Sam Darnold, first ever play. And let me just tell you this, Sam Darnold, youngest quarterback ever to start week 1 in NFL history. He drops back, play action, throws it across the field, pick 6. We all saw the play. We were all heartbroken. All Jets fans together were probably on the verge of crying because we were so excited for week 1. We're so excited to see Darnold. Darnold beat Teddy Bridgewater and Josh McCown in camp, and we're like, all right, let's see Sam. I'm so excited to finally see him. Throws a pick 6. Wow, that couldn't have went any worse. But let me tell you this, that right there showed Jets fans and the NFL that Sam Darnold has the mental ability to deal with adversity and push forward. I am so happy that happened to him because that showed me that even though he threw a pick six, in his mind, he really pushed through that. And ever since that interception, Sam Darnold completed 16 of 20 passes for 198 yards and 2 touchdowns, and led the Jets to a 48-17 victory on primetime football. Like, that showed me, after that game, I'm like, wow, this kid has it. He has the mental ability, because I think the mental ability comes before the physical traits for quarterbacks. That's just my personal opinion, because without that mental ability of having that killer mindset, dealing with adversity, and that's kind of why Tom Brady's so great, because as much as I hate Tom Brady, you gotta respect like how great he is. If we want to talk about Sam Darnold's physical traits, towards the end of the year is when we saw that become a different Sam Darnold. Ever since Sam Darnold got injured and he got to sit back and watch Josh McCown play for 3 or 4 weeks, he really got to take mental reps and understand, okay, how does Josh McCown handle the huddle? How is he leading the guys? How is he organizing, calling plays, reading the defense? There's so much that goes into it. And Sam Darnold got to sit back, watch Josh McCown do his thing, and he comes back. I was at this game actually against the Buffalo Bills at Buffalo. And ever since that game, the past 4 games of the season, Sam Darnold had the highest QB rating in all of football, with awful offensive line, mediocre wide receivers, and awful coaching, awful play calling. That shows you that Sam Darnold has what it takes to elevate people around him, even if they're not as good. That is huge. And the biggest thing about Sam Darnold, his physical traits, is he has that feel for the game where if he's in the pocket and it starts collapsing, you see him step up and extend plays with his feet. And the difference between him and some mobile quarterbacks is, while he's extending the play, his head is up all the time. He's looking. His first instinct isn't to tuck the ball and run. His instinct is to break the pocket, run to his right or left, keep an eye open for maybe Robbie or Hernan to break loose, and throw the ball down the field. That is a huge trait that Sam Darnold has. And that's why I believe Sam Darnold has what it takes, physically and mentally, to elevate his game to become a top 5, top 10 quarterback in this league in the future. So yeah, that's my breakdown on Sam Darnold and why I believe he has what it takes to lead this Jets football team to success. So the next thing on my timeline, which is a huge part of this, is the firing of Todd Bowles. This was written all season. All Jets fans knew it was happening. Some of us wanted it to happen during the season, but right after the last game of the season, the news broke. Jets fired Todd Bowles. Okay, thank God. Now we have to go through a whole coaching search that felt like it took forever. There's so many candidates the Jets interview. We're kind of like, okay, who do we want? We want Mike McCarthy. We want Matt Rule. Some people want Cliff Kingsbury, and most of the people didn't want Adam Gase. I wanted Adam Gase, but him on the Miami Dolphins and not being that good with the Dolphins kind of turned me off. But when we got closer to the end of the coaching search, I really broke down who I wanted the most. And when we hired Adam Gase, my gut was like, you know what? Adam Gase might have what it takes to elevate Sam Darnold. He is a young, innovative, offensive-minded coach, which is the future of the NFL. As you can see with Sean McVay and Nagy and all these coaches really understand the offense. I feel like the future of the NFL is going more offensive, and with the Jets' second-year quarterback and Sam Darnold, you need to bring in an offensive mind that can really push him and elevate him to the next level, and bring him an offense that can really expand his play to a part where we've never seen him before. So I think Adam Gase is a huge hire for the Jets, and as we can see, his energy and passion, and he's like a psychopath for football. That's why I love it. Like, you look at him and you just can tell, like, only thing this guy thinks and cares about is football. Like, that's what I want from my coach. He just looks like he sits in a cave and all he does is study film, thinks of creative offensive plays. How can this Jets football team, that's what you want from a coach. That's just a football guru, and the only thing he thinks and breathes is football. That's what we want from our head coach. So after we hired our head coach in Adam Gase, we also hired defensive coordinator Greg Williams, which is a huge signing. We basically have 2 head coaches on the Jets roster, and Greg Williams is a hothead. His energy, his passion, is a crazy guy to match up with Jamal Adams, and I think that is a match made in heaven. Greg Williams is going to push Jamal Adams even further than we've ever seen before, and Greg Williams on the Jets defense is perfect because Casey Rogers last year and Todd Bowles, they were like so like lean back and like laid back, and they didn't really have that any accountability. Excuse me. But I feel like Greg Williams is really gonna hold all these Jets football players on defense. They're gonna hold them to accountable, and they're not gonna go off sides. And if they do, he's gonna scream at them to a point where they're like, okay, I can never go off sides again. You know, like Greg Williams has that type of energy and that uncle vibe to him, as some players call him. And that's a huge hiring. Like I said before, the Jets have 2 head coaches on their coaching staff, which is huge. The next thing on this timeline is, let's go over the Jets free agency. The Jets spend a lot of money when Mike Maccagnan was GM still. We signed Le'Veon Bell. We signed CJ Mosley. We signed Jamison Crowder. We got Ty Montgomery. We got a bunch of players, and I love every single signing. Yes, we gave CJ Mosley a 5-year contract for $85 million, and that's the most money a middle linebacker ever made. And some people are like, oh, you gave CJ Mosley too much money. But the way the NFL is moving, every single season, no matter how great the player is, they're making the most money in their position. That's how the NFL is working. Every year, the most money goes up and up and up. And if you want a player like CJ Mosley's talent, you need to pay him. That's why I had nothing wrong with it. Jamal Adams' interview last season, at the end of the year, we need more dogs. Well, CJ Mosley is a dog. 4-time Pro Bowler. He's the quarterback of the defense. CJ Mosley and Jamal Adams are 2 leaders in their own style, which why I think they're going to complement each other so well. CJ Mosley is more the lead by example type of player, and Jamal Adams is that vocal energy type of leader. And I think it's going to be so fun to watch these 2 play next season. Then we go out and sign Le'Veon Bell for a 4-year, $52 million contract. This was the biggest splash signing for the Jets. I was so happy. Le'Veon Bell is one of my favorite running backs in the league when he was on the Steelers, and to find out that he's going to be on the Jets blew my mind. It kind of reminds me of when we got LaDainian Tomlinson, because LT was my favorite running back on the Chargers, and then I found out I was in the Jets, and he killed it for the Jets. But I feel like Le'Veon Bell is way more in his prime than LT was on the Jets. Le'Veon Bell is the perfect position for the Jets right now, because Sam Darnold needs a security blanket in Le'Veon. If stuff gets chaotic, Le'Veon can break out and just check down, and Le'Veon can get 12 yards for a first down. He's going to be great for the run game, everything about it. I'm so excited that Le'Veon Bell's in the Jets. And then we go out and sign Jamison Crowder for our slot receiver. Adam Gase loves his slot receivers. Jamison Crowder was a little injury prone for the Redskins, but when he was on the field, he was super, super productive. And having Robbie and Quincy on both sides and then Jameson in the middle, if they can all stay healthy, I really like these wide receivers on the Jets. They're very underrated. No 3 of them are big names. None of them are going to go high in fantasy drafts, but I really think those 3 players have what it takes to elevate Sam Darnold's game. Also, we signed Ty Montgomery, and I think Ty Montgomery is one of the most slept-on signings by the Jets in the free agency. He is a perfect fit for Adam Gase because he's so versatile. As we all know, he was a wide receiver that converted to a running back, so he's going to be backing up Le'Veon Bell. And the way the NFL is going, the successful offenses in the NFL have 2 running backs. As you can see, when the Saints had Mark Ingram, they had Kamara and Ingram. All these successful offenses run a 2-package running backs. So now we have Le'Veon Bell and Ty Montgomery, and we also have Bilal Powell. We have a deep running back room, which is awesome. And we can line up Ty Montgomery on the outside. We can line him up in the slot. Same with Le'Veon Bell. This offense really looks dynamic, and I've never seen a Jets offense look this great on paper. And also it wasn't a free agent signing, but it was a trade that Mike Maccagnan made, the trade for Kalichi Osemele, left guard from the Oakland Raiders. This was a huge deal. We need guys to protect Sam Darnold and create holes for Le'Veon Bell. So that's a huge upgrade for the offensive line. James Carpenter was a left guard last year. He had to go. He really wasn't that great. That was another Mike Maccagnan bust signing, in my opinion. He wasn't that good. All the Jets signings I loved, and I'm really excited to finally see this Jets football team on the field. So the next thing on my timeline is, I think it's a big deal. Some NFL fans will be like, why is that even on your timeline? Some Jets fans will agree with me. The launch of the new Jets uniforms. On April 4th, the Jets launched this crazy event where I watched it live. Most of you probably watched it live too. And it was this awesome event hosted by JB Smoove in it kind of felt like a model shoot of these Jets coming out there, revealing their brand new uniforms, their brand new refreshed logo, their brand new helmets. Here, I got the helmet for you guys. The brand new helmets for the Jets. I love these so much. And the reason why I put this on my timeline is because I feel like the timing of the rebranding of the Jets couldn't have come more perfect, because the Jets now have a new swagger and energy to them. And no, uniforms, they're not going to win you more games. They're not an advantage, no. But the Jets, when I think of the Jets with these uniforms, as much as I've loved them to death, I grew up with these uniforms. When I look at them, I don't feel any success, you know? I don't look at them and feel, the only thing I think of is the 2 disappointment AFC championships with Mark Sanchez. Those were awesome times, don't get me wrong, but we didn't really do that well with these uniforms. Now we got brand new look in these insane black uniforms, the spotlight white, the Gotham green, these black uniforms. It's just a new swagger to the Jets, and you know Jamal Adams and Le'Veon Bell are gonna rock these uniforms and look too fire on the field. So that's why I put this in my timeline, because this is a little part that really makes this new Jets era thing, because they have a whole new look to them. Hopefully when we look at these uniforms, we look at them as a successful franchise instead of we look at these and we think of them as a laughingstock. I mean, all around the NFL, people look at these Jets and think of them as we suck, because we have, and we can admit that. But hopefully that narrative changes when they look at these new helmets and these new uniforms. They think as the Jets as a successful, well-run franchise. So now moving on to the next thing on the timeline is the NFL draft in 2019. With the 3rd overall pick, we drafted defensive tackle Quinnen Williams out of Alabama. This was a no-brainer. He was the best player on the board. He was probably one of the best defensive tackle prospects coming out in a while, according to so many draft analysis that I've read and watched. Quinnen Williams really is going to be that guy. I mean, every single interview this guy has, it's like he's everywhere, because he has such this jolly energy to him that it's impossible to not like him, you know? He has that smile with the big braces, and he's so happy, he's so jolly to be there. He's like a kid. He's talking about, oh yeah, who needs a trainer when I could go on YouTube? And in his interview, oh, how is it like being in the NFL? It's like playing Madden, but in Madden. Like, that's awesome. Like, having a guy like that that's so happy to be there, and he's like, he has like 2 personalities. His off-the-field personality is so jolly and happy, and then when he puts on the pads and the helmet, he becomes dominant. And that's Quinnen's favorite word. Every interview you hear him say, I'm going to dominate. And yes, please dominate, Quinnen. And an undrafted rookie who I'm keeping an eye on is Greg Dortch. I think Greg Dortch is a huge signing for us. Keep in mind, Robbie Anderson was an undrafted free agent as well, and look where Robbie is now. So you never know what Greg Dortch can become. I think he has potential to become our punt returner in the future, and also a solid slot receiver in the future, maybe the wide receiver 4 or 5. I'm really hoping he makes the 53-man roster, because I feel like he has that speed and he has that quickness, and that he has that chip on the shoulder that really elevates those type of players. And I'm hoping the best for Greg Dortch. He has an awesome story, and I'm a huge fan of his. So following the NFL draft, we find out the Jets have fired GM Mike Maccagnan. When this news broke, everybody was considering the Jets as a laughingstock all over again. Right when we thought everything was going good for us, we become a laughingstock of the NFL media. How can you let Mike Maccagnan sign all your players and draft all your players and fire him? How can you do this and this and that? Well, if you think about it, there's so much time and preparation that goes into free agency and the NFL draft, where if we fired Maccagnan when we fired Bowles, whoever we hired would have had like a month and a half or 2 months preparation for the free agency and the draft. And we don't want that. We want to give Mike Maccagnan the ropes, let him draft, let him do the free agency, and then fire him. Obviously, it wasn't the most ideal situation, but I'm so happy we fired him, because who we hired after Mike Maccagnan and Joe Douglas is a huge, huge deal for this Jets football team. It all starts from the top, and Joe Douglas was the next man up for the GM for the next couple years. So many NFL teams that have the GM vacancy open would always go to Joe Douglas and ask him if he's available, and the Jets got him as our new general manager. Joe Douglas really knows what it takes to build a winning football organization. He has so many football rings with the Eagles and the Ravens, and he really knows in his philosophy, which Mike McCagnon definitely did not have his philosophy, is to build through the trenches. Mike McCagnon only drafted 3 offensive linemen in all of his picks. That's awful. That's why the Jets' offensive line has been atrocious for so many years. I'm looking at Joe Douglas, and he's probably looking at this offensive line because we already have the most important position in sports, which is quarterback Sam Darnold. So he's looking at Sam Darnold. He's like, okay, we need to protect this guy. I'm looking at Joe Douglas, and he's going to make some moves. Maybe not this year, but next year's draft. Look for him to draft a lot of offensive linemen to build that trenches. I feel like our defensive line is really strong right now, so he's not really looking at defensive line as a weakness because his philosophy is build through the trenches. That's where it all begins. So huge deal for the Jets having Joe Douglas because I think he has the right vision to elevate this Jets football team. And also him and Adam Gase already have a relationship, and you want that GM and head coach to really have a good relationship. And following Joe Douglas hiring, a couple months later, Joe Douglas somehow gets Ryan Khalil to come out of retirement to be the starting center for the Jets. This is huge. He's a multi-Pro Bowler, and we were kind of having a bad center starting. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of Jonathan Harrison. He's a backup. He doesn't have experience. Yes, he played last year, but he wasn't really that great. Bringing in Ryan Khalil is huge for Sam Darnold because you need a center that can read the defenses, set up the offensive line, and that's huge for a young quarterback. I feel like Joe Douglas bringing Ryan Khalil out of retirement is a huge deal because, first of all, it shows that people are looking at the Jets in a way where I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of Sam Darnold's success. Usually people look at the Jets and they don't want to be a part of that because they're dysfunctional. But we're finally on the path of not being dysfunctional. And we haven't proved it yet. Yes, us Jets fans feel it like it's coming, and that's why I'm bringing this video to us, breaking down everything that happened to now. And I feel like the Jets are finally going on the right path of becoming a non-dysfunctional franchise. And it all starts from the top. So to get into the Jamal Adams jersey giveaway, all you got to do to enter is 3 things. You got to subscribe to this channel. Then you go on my Twitter, retweet the tweet about my giveaway, and then go on my Instagram and comment 2 of your friends that would be interested in a Jamal Adams jersey. I'll be checking all 3 of those things to see who did all 3, and I will be picking them by random right before the season begins. And whoever wins, I will be shipping you a stealth black jersey for free. I will be DMing you on Twitter or Instagram, or even I'll email you and find out your email so I can get shipping details and all that type of stuff. And I'm super excited to really launch this YouTube channel and bring you guys Jets and football content all season long. And I'm really excited. And I hope you guys enjoyed my first ever video. Leave a comment down below of your thoughts of the Jets, your thoughts on my video, and anything about football. I love talking to you guys. So with that being said, go Jets. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace.